Welcome to This Day in History, created by American Heritage Worldwide. A reminder that every day holds something new to learn. Did you know that the New Year's Eve ball sparkles above Times Square all year long, and that 3,000 pounds of confetti, containing handwritten notes, is dropped by 80 to 100 volunteers from building rooftops at midnight? Stay up late on the evening of the last day of the last month of the calendar year as we all count down to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year.
Picture this for a second. It's what? Probably the coldest night of the year.
Right.
The noise is just deafening, and you have over 1 billion people, a billion, all around the world holding their breath for 60 seconds.
It's this incredible, overwhelming scale.
Hmm.
It really is the single moment that, globally transitions the old year into the new.
And what's so fascinating is that we're all of us, fixated on this one single physical object right at the center of the whole ritual.
Exactly, the ball itself.
And that's our mission today. We're doing a deep dive into the Times Square ball. We're going to track its pretty surprising century-long history, the physics behind that 1-minute drop, and then
how this huge public spectacle actually relates back to something really private.
the goals and the resolutions that you set for yourself.
And the tradition, you see, it didn't start with anything spiritual. It was about infrastructure and, well, honestly, advertising. The very first celebration in Times Square was way back in 1904.
Wait, so you're saying it wasn't even about New Year's at first. It was just a giant promotion for the subway.
Pretty much. It was
Yeah.
a massive event tied to the opening of New York City's first subway line.
That's wild.
And it was all anchored by the brand new headquarters for the New York Times, the Times Tower. It was this impressive building on 42nd Street.
So the newspaper wanted to draw a ton of attention to its new home.
A ton. It was the second tallest building in Manhattan at the time. So, holding a massive public countdown right there was the perfect way to cement the name Times Square and create a tradition overnight.
What a way to brand a neighborhood. Okay, let's get into the first drop.
Well, that initial party in 1904 just had fireworks. But the city banned them, so the publisher had to find a safer alternative.
And that led to the ball.
That led directly to the ball, which first dropped in 1907 from a flagpole on top of One Times Square.
And when you look at the specs of that original ball, it's almost funny how humble it was compared to the, 6-ton monster we have today.
Oh, it was a total product of its time. It was crafted by an immigrant metalworker, a man named Jacob Starr.
And what was it made of? We think of crystal now, but back then.
Just iron and wood. Super basic. It was 5 feet across, and get this, it weighed 700 pounds.
700 pounds of wood and iron? How did they even lower that down a flagpole in the New York cold without a disaster?
It was a serious feat of engineering for the day. And for light, it had just 125-watt light bulbs.
Barely enough to see, I imagine.
Just enough. But it was enough to establish the icon immediately.
And that ritual, it turned out to be incredibly resilient, didn't it? It's been lowered every single year since 1907, with just a couple of exceptions.
Just 2. And they were for the wartime blackouts during World War II in 42 and 43.
But people still showed up.
They still gathered. They marked the moment of midnight with a moment of silence, followed by chimes. It just shows that the tradition of gathering was even more powerful than the physical object.
So, after the war, the focus shifts. They have to start improving the ball itself. That old iron and wood design wasn't going to last forever.
No. So in 1920, they swapped out the wood parts for wrought iron, made it more durable. But the real push was for lighter, stronger materials.
Which brings us to 1955.
Exactly. They replaced the whole heavy iron ball with an aluminum one. A huge improvement.
And the weight just plummeted, right?
It dropped all the way down to just 150 pounds. And that design actually lasted for decades, well into the 1980s.
Okay, so that's a fascinating paradox. You go from 700 pounds down to 150, and then eventually jump back up to a 12,000-pound ball. Why the reversal?
It all comes down to technology and, visual impact. The 150-pound aluminum ball was just a shell. It didn't need to do much.
Right, it just held some basic bulbs.
But once LEDs and sophisticated lighting controls came along in the late 90s, the whole structure had to change. It needed to be a strong canvas for thousands of lights, wires, and eventually these incredibly heavy crystal panels.
But before we get to the crystal, there was that slightly goofier phase in the 80s.
Ah, yes. The big apple ball.
They literally turned it into an apple, red lights, a green stem, the whole thing.
It was all part of the I Love New York marketing campaign, a great example of using this global ritual for a very local branding effort.
It is. But the real game changer, the structural one, came as we got close to the new millennium, around 1998, with Waterford crystal and Philips lighting.
That's when the scale just exploded.
Yeah.
The modern ball it's huge, 12 feet in diameter.
And it weighs a staggering 12,350 pounds. That's 6 tons of light and glass.
And it's not a simple sphere. It's what's known as a geodesic sphere.
Meaning it's built from all those interlocking triangles.
Precisely. That geometry gives incredible strength, which you absolutely need to support the weight of 32,000 LEDs and all that heavy crystal.
And this is where it gets really interesting because they just keep innovating. We now have the 9th version of the ball, which was unveiled in late 2025.
The Constellation Ball.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, it's a next-generation marvel. It nearly doubles the amount of crystal. We're talking 5,280 Waterford crystals.
Wow.
But the big upgrade is the technology inside, like these new LED light pucks.
Okay, what is an LED puck in this context? Why is that such a big deal?
So think of it like a mini computer and a light source, all integrated into one tight circular unit. The older LEDs were just individual bulbs that had to be wired up.
So this allows for much more complex control.
Far more. It's what allows the Constellation Ball to have its most advanced features. A sophisticated motion control system so it can change patterns mid-drop.
And it has a sound element, right?
It has a signature sound. It's not just a light fixture anymore. It's a dynamic, interactive media element designed for, maximum TV impact.
It's incredible to think that this 6-ton piece of interactive tech isn't temporary. It sits up there above Times Square, sparkling all year round.
It's there every single day, which speaks to the constant preparedness needed for this one night. But the ball is only half the show. The confetti tradition is, I think, even more logistically complex.
We're talking 3,000 pounds of confetti. 3,000. But it's not just paper, is it?
No, and that's the beautiful part. It literally contains personal wishes from people all over the world.
So how does that work? How do you get your wish in there?
Well, throughout December, they set up what's called a wishing wall right in the Broadway plazas. People can walk up and physically write their wishes on colorful pieces of paper.
And for you watching this at home, you can do it online, too. You can go to the official website or use a specific hashtag on social media.
Right. And all those submissions, the handwritten ones and the digital ones, they're all printed onto the actual confetti, which is thankfully biodegradable paper.
So you get this symbolic moment where a global outpouring of optimism just rains down on the crowd.
It's the closest thing we have to a physical manifestation of shared human hope.
And here's another detail I love. I always assumed it was shot from cannons or something.
Nope, not at all. It's actually a very manual, very human effort. Yes, all those paper wishes are hand-dropped by about 80 to 100 volunteers.
Yeah.
They call them confetti specialists.
No way.
They're positioned on building rooftops all around the square.
Yeah.
And they just wait for the moment the ball hits the bottom, and then they open their bags and let the wishes float down.
That contrast is amazing. You have this massive 6-ton piece of technology and then this really small human touch.
It's what makes it so captivating.
Yeah.
But then comes the hard part. The end.
The cleanup.
The cleanup is a staggering feat of civic organization. The NYC Department of Sanitation mobilizes hundreds of workers, sweepers, all this specialized equipment.
To clear every last piece of that paper.
And they are ruthlessly efficient. They take 3,000 pounds of wishes, plus all the debris from the crowds, and the entire square is immaculate, often by daybreak. It's like the entire previous year has been physically wiped away.
That's the perfect visual of renewal, isn't it? The past is gone, cleared away by the first light of the new day, just in time for the new numbers to arrive.
Those massive 7-foot-2-inch high numerical lights for the new year.
And that visual of the clean street, the new numbers, it's the perfect bridge from the big spectacle to the private tradition of resolutions.
That's right. The global countdown gives us this hard external deadline. It's a formal frame for the optimism of a clean slate.
Psychologically, what's happening there?
Well, researchers call the new year a temporal landmark. It's just an arbitrary date, really, but we treat it as this significant marker in time that lets us separate our past selves from our future selves.
So the countdown clock and that clean street act as a mental reset button for you, the listener. It lets you ditch the bad habits of the old year and genuinely believe you can start fresh.
Precisely. And the resolutions people set for this new self are remarkably consistent year after year. They tend to span health, finance, and personal growth.
You see that huge focus on health and wellness, things like getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, maybe joining a gym.
Or even just simple daily routine changes, drinking more water, eating a good breakfast, taking the stairs.
Simple, actionable things that really make a difference.
Then you have the personal growth goals. Create a savings plan, read more books.
Or the big one, spend less time scrolling on your phone.
That's a huge one now. And then there's the organizational and civic stuff. Finally making those doctor's appointments, cleaning out your closet, donating time.
It's like a complete checklist for self-improvement, all anchored to this one single date.
And if we look at the bigger picture, resolutions aren't just a wish list. They're deliberate statements of intent. They're about pursuing worthy, self-directed goals.
It's often compared to climbing a mountain, right? The new year gives you that first burst of optimism, but the actual progress happens one step at a time, every day.
Exactly. The sustained effort is the daily process. And what's really insightful about linking this 6-ton crystal ball to your private goal of, say, waking up earlier, is that the communal focus amplifies your personal commitment.
So you're deciding to be a better version of yourself at the exact same moment. The rest of the world is watching this universal symbol of renewal.
It lends a certain weight to your quiet promises. The ball drop gives you the external deadline. Your resolutions provide the internal map for the next year.
So what does this all mean? We've gone from this humble 700-pound iron ball built by Jacob Starr in 1907 through the Big Apple phase, all the way to this 6-ton, dynamically controlled Constellation Ball.
Covered in over 5,000 crystals.
Yeah.
And we see the incredible logistics, the 3,000 pounds of human wishes, all dropped by hand, only to be completely erased from the streets before the sun even rises.
I think it means that this global tradition has constantly adapted with technology, but that core human need for celebration, for renewal, for that clean slate feeling, that's remained constant.
The spectacle is vast and it's complex. It requires hundreds of people and years of planning. And yet the deepest tradition is the quiet internal promise we make only to ourselves, the resolution.
So consider this. If the entire world's hopes and dreams are released in 3,000 pounds of confetti that just vanishes by daybreak, the physical evidence of the past year completely gone, how do we make sure our personal goals have more weight and more longevity than the cleanup crew allows? What intentional steps will you take, starting right now, to make sure your resolution actually sticks until next year?
Thank you for joining us for this day in His story. May the lessons of yesterday inspire you to see God's hand today and to play your part in His story now. For more faith-based learning, visit ahsworldwide.org, the homeschool for faith and family.